When applying for jobs, how can you stand out so you can get the job that you want? Well, you need to make a really good first impression, and a covering letter is really important. Number 1, write a fresh covering letter for each job. When you're applying for lots of different jobs, the idea of writing a custom letter for each application can feel really exhausting. Whilst it is fine to recycle some of your stronger phrases from one letter to the next, companies do really want to see that you are super excited to work with them and their specific position that they're advertising. Companies will be able to spot a generic letter, and this will be a turn-off. Number 2, do your research. Find out the name of the hiring manager. The traditional way to address a covering letter is to use the person's first and last name, including their title. We would only recommend dropping the title and last name if you know for certain that the company you're applying to takes a casual approach, or you personally know the hiring manager. Maybe based on the name, or perhaps you're not sure how the hiring manager may identify. If this is the case, then drop the title completely. Do not use "to whom it may concern" or "dear sir" or "madam." This is very archaic, not customized, and gives the impression that you did not take the time and effort to do your research. It might be difficult to find the hiring manager's name, so a good alternative is to address the covering letter to the head of department for the role you're applying for.
Number 3, your opener. There's no need to start your letter by saying your name. The hiring manager can already see this on your CV. It is a good idea to mention the job you're applying for, as that company may have various different positions available, but only one hiring manager looking at all of them. Consider also adding a sentence right at the beginning that highlights your passion for the work you do or your past accomplishments. Number 4, the main body of the letter. Remember, this covering letter accompanies your CV, and therefore you don't need to repeat all the facts in your covering letter. Use the covering letter to expand on the facts you've listed on your CV and paint a fuller picture of your experiences. Think about these points. What approach did you take when tackling one of the responsibilities you mentioned in your CV? What details would you include if you were telling someone a very short story about how you accomplished that bullet point? What about your personality, passion, or work ethic makes you especially good at getting the job done?
Number 5, it's not just about you. Do not make the mistake of writing why this job would be great for you and your career. Instead, what can you do which will help resolve any pain points the company has? How does your experience and skills make you the best person for the job? Hiring you, what problems can you solve? You need to do your research about the company to address this point. A good place to start is the job you're applying for. If there's a vacancy, then there is a need within the company. Number 6, highlight the right experiences. It will be tempting to list all the skills and experiences you have, but again, this can be too much like copying and pasting from your CV to your covering letter. Take time to specifically highlight the experiences which are needed for this role. The job description is a great way to identify what skills the company is looking for. Avoid repeating these exactly on your covering letter, even if you do have all of these skills. Describe them in your own words and use your experiences to demonstrate them. One more important point to remember is that your skills and experiences are not always related to your educational background. Think beyond this, to your internships, volunteer work, or even your hobbies, as this can all demonstrate skills needed for the job you're applying for.
7. What if you're missing experience? The likelihood is that when looking through all the criteria listed in the job specification, you might not have experience on all of the areas. This does not mean you shouldn't apply for the job. Do not apologize if there are some skills which you do not yet have. Instead, emphasize the ones that you do and consider mentioning what areas you would like to grow in. 8. Show some stats. Whilst the job you're applying for might not have anything to do with numbers, most hiring managers do like to see statistics of how you have had a measurable impact in your previous roles. This doesn't always mean that you increase the revenue of the company. You might have put together many events or streamlined processes so that things work more efficiently.
Number 9, be professional does not mean being over formal. Whilst it is important to come across as a professional and polite, do not exaggerate on the formalities. This can make you come across as robotic and insincere. Even when applying for very corporate roles, there's usually room to express yourself in a conversational, approachable, and genuine manner. Number 10, what is the company's voice? Whilst most companies appreciate individuality, they will want to know that their employees share the same values and will be able to fit and thrive in the culture they have created. Again, you need to do your research. Look through the company's website and social media presence. This will give you a good indication of their culture, tone, and language, so you can mirror these in your covering letter. Number 11, go easy on your enthusiasm. Yes, you want to convey how much you want this role, but do not fill your covering letter with exclamation marks. Stay away from expressing that this will be the best thing that will happen to me.
12. This is not your autobiography. We get it. Putting everything about you and your experiences in a CV and covering letter is tempting. You want the best possible chance to make it to the next round. It's best not to go over a page in length. It might not be easy to do this at first, so check out point 14. Coming across as concise but not abrupt is sometimes a difficult task, and it does take practice. 13. You have come this far. There is so much to consider in a covering letter. Do not finish it with a throwaway comment at the end, such as "I look forward to hearing from you," just because you've run out of steam. Emphasize your enthusiasm for the company or how you would be great fit for the position. You can also use the end of the letter to add important details. For example, that you would be happy to relocate for the job.
Number 14, edit. Now that you've written your covering letter, what next? Editing doesn't mean checking your spelling, which is a must. Set aside your covering letter for a few hours or even a day or two. Come back to it, reread it. You will probably find that you can rephrase things differently and even better. If you've written too much, coming back to the draft with a fresh pair of eyes will help with cutting it down. Number 15, share it with a friend. When you have looked through the same thing a number of times, your ability to spot mistakes will diminish. Have someone look over your draft. They may spot things you did not. Asking someone else to read through your letter can also help with the content too. Give them some guidance. Ask them whether the letter sells you as the best person for the job. And if they were the hiring manager reading this letter, would it get them excited to meet you and meet the person who wrote this?
First impressions count. Your CV and covering letter might be the first things a company sees about you. So do not rush your covering letter. Consider it carefully, as this might be the stepping stone for your future employer seeing the awesome person that you are. We have also written a blog post on the subject, and we will link it in the description below. Take a look for some practical examples.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below and hit the bell button so you get notified every time I go live and post a video. It's completely free and it really helps support the channel.